Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Genshin Impact reaction. Today we have the Chosen Dragon's Trials. This one was requested by Harshit, who was curious if I was going to get to this one because of a botting issue that one of his comments received, and that did get addressed by YouTube, but I also put in a little bit of social engineering to be able to figure out what more accurately the likes would probably be based on the activity on my video. So while you just saw the comment that had like 300 some odd likes still on it, this is more likely what it actually would have been. These are not official numbers. I just edited it to be closer to what the actual count was on the video for like ratio and everything. Just being myself and my tism brain deciding to do extra when I didn't need to. I thought it was kind of fun to do that. So now you know what it'll actually look like if bots aren't involved, because at one point it was like 600 some odd, which is ridiculous. But I'm not going to fault Harshit for that, so we're going to be listening to this since it still had the extra likes on it and was definitely the most popular comment. So I'll be getting to this one either way, and I guess without further ado, let's go! All right, already got the that high-flying optimism in the song. I mean, assuming this area on screen is where this theme came from, the vibe is perfect for like above the clouds flying around, you know? Perfect energy for it. High strings, lots of flute. This has got to be one of my favorite feelings in orchestral music, is like the soaring through the sky feeling. I love it so much. That's a fun brass line. A little bit mystical. Magic is happening. Ooh. Ooh. Hell yeah. Show some love to the low brass there. Ooh. Okay. Low brass stayed a little longer than I thought. I'm getting a lot of like rising and falling. Ended high? Nope, it's going down again. Okay, so a little bit of turbulence there. And the tension. Something's going wrong. They did say this was a battle theme, so that tracks. Things starting to get a little bit more intense now, like something went wrong. A little Icarus flying too close to the sun, maybe. Beautiful, beautiful run there. Ah. Love those. Oh, didn't do it again. I was expecting it again. This is what I mean by I love these. These are a guilty pleasure. I don't even think I'd call it a guilty pleasure, actually. I love these, no shame attached. It's just so consistently fun, no matter what game it's from. love the support from the xylophone, I think, is in there. Very high xylophone. Woodblock mallets, most likely. Ooh. I thought that was going to be the ending there, but we got a little bit more. Oh. The swell on the way out, not letting you have a resolution. That's why I thought that one spot was the end. I thought we were going to resolve and it was just going to be the end there. But they decided to throw a little bit of extra tension in there and kind of let it wash out like it wasn't a super satisfying ending. Maybe that's how the battle ends. Ooh, I love it. I want to take a shot in the dark here and guess that that might have been Arcangelo Chen. Something about this one felt way vastly different to the other stuff I've been hearing recently, which while all that has been great in its own right, there is a vibe to this one that feels so much more like Yupeng Chen's work, and I feel like the closest composer that's ever done that to me is Arcangelo Chen. I think he did an amazing job in general after the initial leave of Yupeng, and I think that with this one, it just has that same energy, that same brightness to it. You know, there's a love and care to this that while, again, the other songs are great in their own rights, it's just, it hits different. There's something about this song that feels so much better, and not just my own personal biases. Like, yes, I do love this feel in music, this high-flying energy, this really optimistic, soaring through the skies above the clouds sort of song has always been one of my favorite compositional things in all of gaming and all of movies, everything else. Like, there's a reason I love John Powell's work, and specifically How to Train Your Dragon, just some beautiful work, especially in that feeling is just, it's so good. Again, every game. I mean, I would also say Skyward Sword had some amazing soundtrack stuff within that same flavor, as well as like even the spaces in Twilight Princess that had some of that up above the skies. I forget what the area is called, but you know the one if you've played the game. That, you know, like when you take characters above the skyline, above the cloud line, but not necessarily into space, there's that layer up there, like it's not the stratosphere, that's space, this is the troposphere. This is the troposphere sound. I don't think there's exactly a title for this feeling that you get in composition, but that's what it is. The cloud layer, the troposphere, is what this sound is, and I love it so much. You get these beautiful floating flutes and the strings, always the higher strings like the violin and the viola, just doing their thing, just going as high as they can, sounding as bright and flighty and just getting that energy of truly soaring through the skies. It's so good. But then also supporting it so well with the lower end in here. I love that they included that because sometimes people don't, which is fine. You know, like if you compose for that and you don't need that low end, that's fine. But I love that they had it in here because that's what added that intensity, that low end tension that was like, oh, now it's not just you flying through the skies. This is a battle theme now. And that's what you need to do in order to make something feel more tensious. You need to have these conflicting vibes in the music. You need the low end, you need the high end, you need things clashing, you need dissonance, you need all of that to work together. And if you don't include that low end, or at least much of it, you really don't feel that. You don't feel any tension. It's just like, oh, I'm casually floating through the sky, which is also a vibe, but just a different one. This had so much tension added to it compared to what I'm used to hearing in this same sort of sound. But that's also what makes this one more unique, is because I'm not getting a lot of that low end. And this might be a weird comparison, but it actually reminded me a lot of like the specifically orchestral arrangement of Simple and Clean from the like Kingdom Hearts live shows that they've done, the live orchestrations, where they have all of this floaty, like constantly scaling flutes just dancing around everything. It was so bright and happy and vivid, but then they also had the low, resonant bottom end to remind you that this is still Kingdom Hearts and there's still some serious shit going on, even if this one theme is a little bit brighter than other times. And that balance, as I always talk about the balance, is what makes this feel like a battle theme. If you had gotten rid of either one of those factors, the highs or lows, it would have changed the vibe entirely. If you went all lows, it would have sounded like somebody had shot you out of the sky and you're currently falling. There's no space above you, it's just ground, and you are careening towards that shit. And on the opposite side, getting rid of all that bass, like I said, you now have all this high end that isn't doing anything really tensious. It's just kind of flighting around. It's flickering above your head, and you're like, hey, I feel indestructible. I feel like I could fly for miles and nobody would touch me. That's great. It's a little like Superman theme in that way, where it's like there's no tension in there. It's a very heroic theme, and you don't feel like there's any stress because there really isn't, especially in the context of stuff like Superman. You always listen to that theme and you're like, oh shit, that's Superman. He's gonna save our lives. And it's because it's written in that way. It's written with not a lot of low end while being there. It definitely focuses more on the high. And also, just as a side note, I don't think anyone's really requested something from this like album. Maybe that's because it's a little bit newer. It's like a 2-month-old upload, so maybe that's why. But I really hope I start hearing more from this area, because I'm not expecting all of them to sound like this. I have a feeling that this is very, you know, per context. That's why it sounds this way. But maybe not. Maybe there's other ones in here that have that same vibe that'll get me unrealistically hyped just out of my own biases, but just are great. And again, if this is Arcangelo Chen, which I will learn after I'm done recording, I'm not going to look it up now, but if I am correct in that, I love hearing more of his work. I want to hear more of that vibe. Again, closest person, in my opinion, to Yu-Ping Chen and keeping that legacy alive. The others are great, but there's just something that hits different when a composer is doing what they love, and you can feel that shine straight through the music and into your soul. And it's songs like this that do that for me, not just because they're high flying and because that is the point of the song, it's to get you to feel that way. It's because I can feel that they're paying attention to every minute detail in the composition and actually placing everything exactly where it needs to be, not just in the mix, but actually in the movement, and like every little tiny flighty thing that was going on with the flutes, the xylophone I mentioned in there. It's like all of these are adding little details to the song that make it feel just a little bit different. That xylophone, for example, matching with everything on the low side, was actually acting as kind of like a percussive bass. So it's like, okay, well now there's a grounding force in this that's not just the bass, it is a percussive grounding force. There is something related to actual contact now, instead of just being the idea of a ground below you. There is a physical manifestation of that in the music. That's what the xylophone did for me at that point. That's the same for any percussive detail in there. The snare, the bass drum, they had a timpani swell at the end there, all the cymbals and everything. All of those are grounding factors. Percussion is essentially and effectively a grounding percussive force. It's something you tend to associate with contact because that's what the instrument is. And when you do something so specific like having that xylophone matching with the low end brass and such underneath, you're like, okay, well, there must be something that's like light, but also it hits pretty hard because it's an aggressive, snappy sound compared to the more resonant versions like a bass drum or timpani would be. There's just a different vibe for everything in a composition, and I like those little details. That's the difference that I get from Arcangelo Chen. That's the sort of thing that I love to hear. The detail work is really what makes me love these games and their soundtracks, and Genshin has always had amazing music from start to finish, so far at least. I still have plenty more to listen to, but every single time I hear one, I'm usually impressed by how they're balancing everything. But with Arcangelo Chen, that's a different story. It's much more akin to how Yu-Ping Chen did and the love and care that was in his work. So it's just, if this feels right. I still don't know if this is Arcangelo Chen, but I am so confident in the feeling that this is giving me that this has to be Arcangelo. So I'm hoping it is. I hope I don't just look like an idiot saying that so many times and it's somebody completely different, because if it is, great. They did a phenomenal job at this song, but also I just feel so confident that this is our boy Arcangelo, so I'm going to marry that opinion and hope I'm correct. But that's about all I gotta say on this one, so thank you all so very much for watching. If you have something else you want me to get to and you want to comment it down below, go for it. Hopefully the bots won't get you like they got our shit, but we'll see. But otherwise, if you just want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!